Hello, hello. Welcome to An Console, your weekly podcast where we talk about books, games, food, and stuff that caught our attention during the week. My name is Chris, and with me is my recovering surgeried wife and co-hostess, Karradyne.
You say that's so weird.
What?
Recovering surgeried. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, they did surgery on you.
Recovering from surgery.
Surgeried.
No.
Because they did stitches and shit.
Yeah, no. I'm here. I'm alive. I'm itchy as hell.
You're doing
and
better?
It's driving me fucking insane. I'm doing better but worse at the same time. Because I'm so itchy. I just want to scratch it. And I can't scratch it.
You know who else?
And I'm losing my mind.
Do you know who else is itchy?
Our Patreon supporters.
No.
Marla.
Our guest.
Oh,
Thrak. Yeah. We have Thrak back on the show. How are you doing, my man?
What's up, bitches? I'm back. I'm not itchy. I moisturize every day, but I'm sure your itching is different than normal itching.
Yeah, so. I can't exactly put moisturizer or literally anything on these itches. I can't do anything.
Well,
like you can't put like an ice pack or anything. Or
I can do ice, but
it's too lazy.
Yeah, let's be real. I'll just suffer. It's fine.
You know, the thing
I can shower. I just can't like directly wash them. I have to let the water and soap run over them. I can't like scrub.
You know, the thing is that you should give those itches scratches because itches love scratches.
I hate
but
you.
Unfortunately, you can't scratch those itches.
I can't.
So them
scratch
itches,
those itches.
They're gonna have to stay itchy.
But surely it'll be like better this week. Surely.
Was that a Simpsons reference?
No, it was a old meme. I gave that itch a scratch because itches love scratches.
Oh, it's from a meme?
Yeah, the original meme is like I gave that bitch some flowers because bitches love flowers.
I remember you telling me that now.
She loves smiley faces.
I said smiley faces?
Yeah, no, you said flowers.
Yes, bitches.
Yeah, bitches love smiley faces.
Bitches love smiley faces, Karradyne?
I don't know, it depends.
Luna, you're a literal bitch. Where do you love smiley faces?
Don't talk to Luna that way. She doesn't deserve it.
Well, she's a female dog.
But what's interesting is this time last year I had a surgery as well. But it wasn't as intense as yours. It was just getting my wisdom teeth removed, but that was fun.
And until now, that was the only surgery I'd ever had. And yep, let me tell you, it is not the same. It is.
I'll take your word for
it. Yeah, I don't wish this upon anyone, especially the attack part of it. That was worse than the surgery, but still.
The gallbladder attacks?
Yeah, they were way worse.
Yeah, those did sound pretty awful.
They were awful.
Now, Thrak, it's been a while since we've had you on the show. What have you been up to? What have you been doing?
I've been trying to live life, I guess. I don't know. Been doing stuff. I went back to school, and that's going just fine so far. It's for accounting, so you know I'm a numbers guy, so I appreciate that. Let's see. I beat Mass Effect 2 last night, so that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
So I tweeted about it. I'm in that mode where I'm like, oh, I'm really excited for Mass Effect 3. I wonder what's gonna happen. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I know it's controversial what happens. So we shall see.
Yes. Honestly, I don't know how else people wanted it to end because there was no other way for it to end. I thought it was fine. People hated it apparently, but I'm not most people. I'm very.
You have controversial opinions.
Yes. So apart from Mass Effect and your usual Dragon Questing, have you been reading anything?
Well, I read the book for this week.
Yeah, you did.
Let's see. Somebody bought a book for me for Christmas. In fact, let me see if I can go grab it. That's how long it's been since I've had it. I still haven't read a lot of it though, but it's the 33 and a third for Brian Eno's Another Green World. It's just like a book about the album, basically, because I'm a big Brian Eno fan. I've read a bit of it. It's very interesting, but I need to sit down and read the whole thing, which I'll do at some point.
It looks very short. It won't take you very long.
Oh yeah, it's let's see. It's
what
like
should be like
100
Bible
pages.
dense.
Oh yeah, it's nothing.
Like the letters are Bible size. They're minuscule.
Oh my
on top of
gosh,
each other.
I can't. And the paper is like tissue.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wouldn't that have been amazing if you asked me, what have you been reading? And I pull out the Bible.
Oh,
I'm like halfway through it, you know.
Sorry, we got to cancel the episode.
It's not bad, but it jumps all over the place.
He like pulls out
it's a little
the Bible
preachy.
and the Quran, and he's like, "Oh, I'm trying to find the similarities between these two books."
So and so begat, and so and so begat, and so begat. Oh god,
yeah, that's where I gave up.
That's always where I gave up. I tried like 4 times, and then I was like, "Nope, I can't do this." And then life happened.
Yeah.
I think the Bible's okay to read if you're not like a religious person. If you're just judging it for what it is.
If you're just judging it for a book.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah. It's just like, it's a book.
I mean, I could see that. Some all right, so the book of Revelations, the whole thing is just interesting.
Oh yeah.
I find it very interesting. It's good.
I like the book of Romans.
I have not read that book. Have you, cared?
It's not bad.
I don't remember.
No.
I've blocked most of all of that from my memory.
It's for the best.
Yeah. I remember Methuselah being the oldest person in the Bible. I remember my Sunday school teacher quizzing me on that. He was like 969 or something. I don't know.
Nice.
He was 900 and something. I don't remember.
Hey, you know what we hope is 900 someday?
Our Patreon supporters.
Yes, but also on anovelconsole. It's episode 100 today.
Oh yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it's a big milestone.
We've done 100 of these things.
That sucks.
And there's people who have listened to all of them.
I know. Those people are crazy.
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years.
Oh my God. We're only 2 months away from 2 years.
Yeah,
4 episodes.
September.
Holy shit.
52 plus 52 is 104.
Right.
Because you do it weekly. 52 weeks in a year.
There was a week where we released 2 in the same week. Well, there's been 2 weeks where we've released 2 in the same week. 3 counting when we switched over.
Yeah, and plus I'm wrong. It wasn't August.
No, it was the beginning of September.
Well, it was August, but then you made me re-record the whole fucking episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That episode is lost. I have no idea where
never to be found.
Never to be found.
It was rough. It was really rough.
Mm-hmm.
And in a hotel room.
Now, we do have an email before we get into book talk, because we have a lot to talk about in book talk. So
we got a movie to talk about in book talk.
We have a movie to talk about in book talk. So, Karradyne, if you want to pull up our email and read Will's email, it's starred, so you should be able to find it.
One moment.
It's like 3 from the top.
He secretly emailed himself.
Who? Me?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, because sometimes I black out and Will takes over. Sometimes stuff. I wake up and there's stuff ordered.
Well, you've never been in the same room
eBay.
Together.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a Batman type thing. He came into existence when I was like 4 years old. So, all right. So you got the email?
I do.
All right.
Okay. Greetings, friends. I really enjoyed the episode on The Wind Waker, a classic game from my childhood. I've got a couple thoughts. First things first, I'm the realist. Second, Karradyne, it doesn't look like you had anything to read this episode. In cases like this, just dramatically read the opening crawl of Wind Waker in your best Gandalf impersonation. I didn't realize the sailing was all due to disguise the island's loading screens, but that's actually a pretty smart way to go about it. I find the concept of hiding loading screens fascinating, and I hope Codex covers it someday. In many ways, this game was the perfect game for me at 8 years old. Even by the GameCube era, in a lot of games, if you got stuck on a puzzle or boss, that was it. You had to figure it out or play something else. In Wind Waker, if I got stuck, I could strike for the high seas and do a bunch of side quests or exploration. This was the first game world that felt lived in to me, and it was a game changer. I'm probably the only person who doesn't hate the Triforce sailing aspect. I think it forced you to explore the other corners of the great great sea. And like your friend said, I'm always up for more sailing with that incredible theme song and the sun setting in the horizons. I loved seeing what each island had to offer, even if it was just blue choo-choos. I do think that the rupee threshold was far too much, though. I also felt like this game was a major step up in plot over the N64 titles. I enjoyed the journey to get the Master Sword, only to find out Ganon had learned from Ocarina the Gourd Flute. I appreciated moody, introspective Ganon in general. The cutscene where he defeats you, but the King of Hyrule makes the wish first, is pretty phenomenal storytelling for a game that had nothing in the way of dialogue. I was too young to hate the graphics, but my big con is always that the game felt like it lacked dungeons. The GameCube's underperformance really impacted a lot of titles, and Wind Waker is missing 1 or 2 dungeons as a result of the rush. Despite that, I definitely prefer this to Twilight Princess, which has too many dungeons or just needed to cut the wolf segments. All in all, Wind Waker is a top 20 game all time. A top 20 game all time for me, and I've played it a lot of times. On a good day, it cracks my Zelda top 3 over
Breath of the Wild.
I was going to guess.
Sorry.
Looking forward to more Zelda episodes. You're just lucky I didn't say Weight Watchers every time you said WW.
That wasn't an email. That was a fucking novel. Jesus
I know,
Christ,
right?
Will, just come on the show.
Yeah, for real.
Don't you remember in
God.
Codex when he said that statistics email that took Tyler like 20 minutes to read?
God.
It's very, very well thought out.
You know, for a guy who deals with numbers right now, Will gets a little too much into the stats.
Oh,
Yeah.
bless
Oh,
him.
God. So I love you, Will, but Jesus.
It would have been great.
I'm a big Wind Waker guy too, though. Wind Waker's my favorite Zelda game. So, you know.
It was very pretty.
It's a very, very good game. I absolutely love that game.
Yeah.
Now, it would have been funny if Karen would have read, all in all, Weight Watchers is a top 20 game of all time for me.
Weight Watchers.
It's like a
2
VR
points.
game.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. I can't.
And it's you just balancing your intake of food so that you can stay in like a range of weight.
Oh my goodness.
You're just like fake shoveling food into your mouth.
I can't.
Calories
I
in,
can't.
calories out.
Mm-hmm. Does it have a pooping element?
I can't.
You don't want to watch that.
No.
Oh my God.
No, Karen, Will had a great idea.
Mhm.
In cases like this, just dramatically read the opening crawl of Wind Waker and your best Gandalf impersonation.
I don't have a Gandalf impersonation.
I sent you the opening scroll from Wind Waker.
Oh my
It's
God.
on general on our Discord. I want you to
I
read
don't know how to do
Gandalf?
impersonations.
You've watched Lord of the Rings a million times.
Yeah, but I still don't do impersonations. There's a big difference.
Just be an
between-
old gay man. That's all you
Oh
have to
God.
do.
Yes, an old gay
can't.
wizard.
Yes.
Oh,
So
With
he's
a
never
sword.
had sex.
Really?
only gay sex.
Right. Wait, I'm lost.
I thought it was
What?
if you didn't. I thought it was you became a wizard if you didn't have sex the first 30 years of your life. Or am I wrong on that?
I can't. I can't.
I don't know if I have anybody that I could ask.
Okay, this is really long. This is as long as his email.
Yes, I want to hear it.
You
And
want
you
me to
can't
read this
skip
whole
it.
thing aloud?
Yes,
In the game or in
Ah.
this?
yes, that's true. You can't skip it in the game either.
This is terrible. I can't do this.
Yes,
I
you
can't.
can.
No, I'm just gonna read it.
Just do another impersonation. Just
This is but one of the legends of which the people speak. Oh, this is terrible. Long ago, there existed a kingdom where golden power lay hidden. It was a prosperous land blessed with green forests, tall mountains, and peace. But one day, a man of great evil found the golden power and took it for himself. With its strength at his command, he spread darkness across the kingdom. But then, when all hope had died and the hour of doom seemed at hand, a young boy clothed in green appeared as if from nowhere. Wielding the blade of evil's bane, he sealed the dark one away and gave the land light. This boy who traveled through time to save the land was known as the hero of time. The boy's tale was passed down through generations until it became legend. But then a day came when a fell wind began to blow across the kingdom. The great evil that all thought had been forever sealed away by the hero once again crept forth from the depths of the earth. eager to resume its dark designs. The people believe that the hero of time shut up would again come to save them, but the hero did not appear. Faced by an onslaught of evil, the people could do nothing but appeal to the gods. In their last hour, as doom drew nigh, they left their future in the hands of fate. What became of that kingdom? None remain who know. The memory of the kingdom vanished, but its legend survived on the wind's breath. On a certain island, it became customary to garb boys in green when they came of age. Clothed in the green of fields, they aspired to find heroic blades and cast down evil. The elders wished only for the youths to know courage like the hero of legend. I feel like Miss Doubtfire.
This was better than a sex toy segment.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
See,
I feel like if that was in a Tolkien novel, you would have loved it.
Yes, because that felt very Tolkien-ish.
It felt very like almost Silmarillion-ish, I guess, or Hobbit-ish, because we're talking about little boys in green.
Basically, what it says is, the whole like Link beats Ganon, then Link goes back in time, Ganon returns, there's no Link, so the goddesses just flood everything. And there you go.
Basically.
That's basically what happens, yeah.
See,
Logic.
that clothed in the green of fields, they aspire to find heroic blades and cast down evil. That is Lord of the Rings. That is just straight up something from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
No? You don't think so?
I was too invested in the voice to pay attention to the content.
Yet Mrs. Doubtfire did a great job.
Thank you.
She's not dead.
I'm open to narrating audiobooks in that voice anytime you need me.
That would be great. Well,
the only way
thank
I'll
you
get
for
through
the
Silmarillion.
It's difficult. It's very difficult.
Oh God.
Oh, to say the least. We were in Barnes and Noble yesterday, and I always have to go down the fantasy aisle and see if there are any new editions that I need. Oh, and fun fact, they now have editions of Lord of the Rings in teeny tiny paperbacks with the fucking Rings of Power cover posters on them. I'm like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. This is not. Anyway, there was this girl, and she was looking at one of the huge all-in-one leather-bound volumes, and she's like, I just don't know if I want to do it. It's such a big investment, and I just don't know if it's going to be worth it. I was like, I promise you it's worth it. And she's like, oh, how long did it take you to read them? I was like, the first time when I was 10 years old, or like now? So I told her a month a piece, because that was how long it took me the first time when I was 10 years old.
You never stopped reading them.
I didn't.
No.
I didn't.
So question, do you have a first edition of all three?
No.
Ooh.
No.
Are they expensive?
I am sure. I have no doubt. Surely they have to be. No.
Let me take a look.
I don't.
Before I take a look, thank you for the email, Will.
Yes,
Trying to get that out for a while.
For example,
will you make it shorter next time?
Make it longer. Just take up a whole hour.
No.
We would be happy with that.
Oh my gosh.
Why Breath of the Wild isn't a Zelda game?
So our local bookstore that I really like, they have a bunch of special editions that they keep locked away in this fancy case. And I have a friend who's obsessed with Outlander, and they had a first edition copy of Outlander for like $200, and she's like, that doesn't seem right. Normally they're like $1,000. So like I can only imagine that if a first edition of Outlander, which was only published in like the 80s, I think, maybe.
Oh boy.
How much money are we looking at here?
Boy. $35,000.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
Fellowship of the Ring, The Two Towers, and Return of the King. This is the one with the white thing.
Uh-huh.
This one.
All first editions?
Yes, let me send this to Thrak so he can look at it. So yeah, Jesus Christ, that is very expensive.
35,000, not 3,500.
35,000.
35,000.
Yes.
For all three?
Yeah. Oh, it's a white cover with the red book underneath, and these will beat the shit up. Wow. Oh, the hell.
Wait, is it signed? Is that why it's
No, it's not
$35,000? No.
No, it's like some professor wrote on it, but
You know he was a professor, right?
it says professor.
Ooh, they're advanced review copies of the first issue.
Are you fucking serious?
That's what this says.
Oh, yes,
what?
It does. Advanced
So that's
review
probably
copy
why
of
they're
volume
so
1.
expensive. Because I found all 3 on a different site, and it was only charging like 6,000.
Only $6,000.
Yeah,
I mean, compared to this,
yeah, that is a big difference.
You still have to pay shipping. It's $35,000, and I have to pay the $6 in shipping.
It says first UK edition set is $6,888.
Do they have payment plans?
I'm going to assume no.
You know how much that would be like paying for more than our 2 cars put together.
It would be like paying our rent and our car payments per month.
That's a down payment on a house.
Right? That's a car. That's a really nice car, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Oh dear.
Damn, I wish I had that kind of
money.
No,
don't keep looking. It's just gonna make me sad.
Oh, there's $60, $40, there's $400.
So the copy I read was a movie cover copy. It's Gandalf standing in Bag End. That's the cover, and it's like missing the corners from like where my dog chewed on it and stuff.
Not Luna.
It's really beaten up. Yeah, no, not Luna, because that was before she was alive.
You know, for some reason, every time you say Bag End, I think you're gonna say baguette, and I get kind of excited.
I know,
but then it goes away.
He's standing in a loaf of bread.
Standing in a loaf of baguette.
Yeah.
All right, let's go into book talk.
Okay. This week's book is the really rather terrible Postscript by Cecelia Ahern. It was published on September 19th, 2019 by HarperCollins. And Chris bought it for me that day. And I just read it. So yay. It is the sequel to P.S. I Love You, also by Cecelia Ahern. And the famous movie based on it that features Hilary Swank and Gerard Butler. Yay.
That movie sucked.
When did the book first come out? Was that 2006?
Let me double check here.
Because I think the movie was 07.
So P.S. I Love You was actually published January 5th, 2005.
Okay.
And then the movie, I think you're right. Let's see here. Yes, the movie came out December 21st, 2007. I remember seeing this. Yes, I remember seeing this in the theater and just crying my poor little eyes out. I was devastated, but it was so good. And I fell in love with Harry Connick Jr. a little bit, which is weird. It doesn't make any sense.
That is weird.
And you only watched the movie. You did not read P.S. I Love You, right?
No, I checked some like Cliff Note things to kind of get a synopsis of what's going on, and I did that after the movie because I watched the movie and I was like, it's not good. But
no, it's really bad.
It just felt like a generic romantic movie. You know what I mean?
It was like a generic chick flick, yes.
Yeah. It's like, and I recognize I'm not the demographic for it, which is fine.
You don't
I mean, I can enjoy like sappy love shit here and there, but it didn't click with me. But from what I know of the first book, it feels like that would have been better because it had like because it was set in Ireland, whereas the movie, it just kind of goes to Ireland for a little bit and all that. It feels like it was Americanized, and whatever charm or interesting crap that was in the book is just gone from this, and it's just making it as like basic as you could get. So it was a movie that's like there's just nothing there, you know. Like I don't think Hilary Swank is very good as like a romantic lead in this movie. Gerard Butler's fine, but I mean he even apologized. He apologized for his accent. His accent was so bad he apologized for it.
Bless him.
Yeah. And then who was the Lisa Kudrow Why was she there? Like, what was the point of that?
Her point was being horny the whole movie.
Yeah, wasn't that her character in Friends? I've never watched Friends.
Well, no, not really. No, her character in Friends was way weirder and goofier than that. But I don't know. I didn't reread P.S. I Love You, thank God. But I did read it. I read it after I saw the movie, and I remember being so disappointed by how much they changed. Like the fact that she was not Irish. None of it was in Ireland except for the little trip. And like the new relationship she started, it wasn't like the same. I don't know.
Oh yeah, with that one guy that she was like dating but not dating or whatever. Like
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Like, was that dude autistic?
Oh my God.
No,
what makes you say that?
Okay, because the one dude that's
the
like
book part.
The guy who's like at the very end.
Oh wait. Okay, you're talking about Harry Connick Jr.'s character.
In the movie?
Who was working in the bar in the movie? No?
It's the guy, I can't remember, but it's like, I remember at the very end, Hilary Swank and that dude, they kiss, and they're like, nah, we're not feeling this.
Yeah, Harry Connick Jr.
Why I say that is because when they first meet and he's being like kind of awkward and weird and all that, I feel like they're trying to slightly imply he's on the spectrum, but without saying it, because it's 2007 and you can't really say it because they don't know how to write autistic characters.
I thought you were talking about the book. Okay, now yes,
no, I'm talking about the movie. No,
yes,
the movie.
No,
I'm
so
just
when
like,
we were,
it was so weird.
Yes, when we were rewatching it, because I had not seen it in years. I don't remember the last time I watched it. Maybe when I was in college, but I remember thinking the same thing. I was like, he totally has like Asperger's or something. Why aren't they just saying it? Why are they just talking about him medicating himself and not saying that he's on the spectrum? What the fuck?
Because it's 2007 and mental health stigma is a lot higher than it is now, which is still pretty high.
Yes, very, very true. But yeah, no, he's way too blunt and just way too blunt to not be on the spectrum.
Yeah. I feel
not
like
that there's anything wrong with that, but hot damn, he is.
I feel like if they took the original book and tried to adapt it into a movie now, but made it more like what the book actually is, I think it would work better. Like it could work as like an indie film, maybe. Like just let like some weirdo indie person do it. It'd probably be fine. But anyways, Postscript.
Yeah. So I don't remember how many years later it starts. Not that it matters, but
it was like, I didn't put that in my notes.
Maybe like 5 years or so. Maybe
it's more than that. It's way more.
Is it more?
That.
Maybe like 10.
I think it was like 12.
Was it?
I think so.
I don't remember.
Like I think it's the actual time between the first book and the second book. Like I think it's that long.
Okay.
Or at least it's implied when we like re-meet up with Holly, you know?
Yeah.
But before we get into the content, I just want to say real quick, I listened to the audiobook version of this.
Oh.
And the woman who read it, I think her name's Amy Huberman. She was fantastic. She did a really good job reading this. She did all the different accents and everything. And
nice.
She did a really good job of dramatizing the book for a listener such as myself. And she kept me hooked in. So if for some reason she's listening, you did a great job. You did a great job.
That's awesome. I love a good audiobook narrator.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the contents, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I did not care for it at all. So like Holly goes on, it's her sister's podcast, right?
Yes.
And basically like explains what Jerry, her husband who died, did in leaving her all of these letters and shit to find and all the things that he did for her, the P.S. I love you crap. And oh, this sounds so terrible. This group of terminally ill people, they hear it and they like start a club called the P.S. I love you club. And they all want to do similar things for their loved ones for when they're gone.
Yeah.
It's not funny, but it is. It sounds so, oh God.
Honestly, it doesn't sound like the premise. It doesn't sound like a publisher made her write it. It sounds like she genuinely came up with the premise, which I don't think helps. but it does feel like a sequel where she just like had an idea and just tried it out. You know, so it's not like cynical and trying to make money. It's cynical. It's not cynical. It's just trying to, if you were to do a sequel, how would you do it, I guess. But even then, it didn't
need a sequel.
It just
didn't.
Yeah, for me, it's like, why? Because, okay, so the first movie or book or whatever, all right, that happened to her. Maybe she starts doing it. Why do you have to write a book about it? And then have it be that many years later and people are like, oh, somebody's doing this. Let's all go badger her so she can do this for us.
Wait, what?
Never mind.
but real quick, with the whole podcast thing, like from what I remember, when Holly does the episode where she gets goaded by her sister to go on it because she's really like not wanting to do it, and even though it's been years, it's really tough for her. Which, by the way, as I kept reading the book, this phrase kept coming into my mind, and that's Holly needs therapy.
Yes,
we'll get into that. But like, how the hell does her sister's podcast, which I believe it's the 3rd episode, but they're filming it in front of like a live audience?
Yes,
and it is successful enough to where other people are listening to it, and then the PS I Love You Club is formed around, what is it, just like the one, like, is it the one episode, or is it in this canon universe Holly wrote the book from the first events? Is that like in the canon? Because they don't explain really how this, because they don't explain how this club is formed, because there's no way there's no way one episode of a podcast is going to start a cult. Like, I don't, you would need at least 5. So
we're on episode 100 and we don't have a cult yet.
Yeah, so I don't know how the hell that happened.
Yeah,
so it's a little convoluted in that part.
We've abandoned logic. It's fine.
Pretty much. And
nobody's going to read into it that much.
But I feel, I just had this idea. Except for Thrak. If I thought about this too much. I feel like if you recontextualize the book as like a horror book, and like Holly's being haunted by this fucking cult who want to relive her experience,
I can't.
Then it would be amazing. Because it starts out like that. Like, they're just like, they keep showing up to the place that she's working at, and they're trying to like talk to her, basically, and they're trying to like talk to her like family and coworkers, being like, can you just like talk to her? And like, they're calling her up on the phone, and
like that one woman even like bruises her when she grabs her arm. She's like, help me.
Yeah. And like, what was and Gabriel,
better and better.
Wait, what was wrong with Gabriel? Oh,
no, they kept like calling Gabriel to try to like get him in, and Gabriel's like, what the hell is this? And Holly's like, I'm not going to do it. And then she does it. Spoiler, she does it. And then Gabriel gets pissed about it, rightfully so. And then Holly gets upset that he's upset about it, when it's like, if they're in a long-term relationship, if you're going to do something like this, wouldn't you want to consult it with him to some degree? Like, I thought about this a lot. Okay.
She didn't talk to him about anything. She kept everything from him.
Yeah. And to be fair, he didn't say anything to her about like his daughter, but
true.
That's another plot that I feel like could have went somewhere, but they kind of gave up at the end. They're like, oh, it's fine now. Everything's fine.
What the fuck? The more you both talk about this stupid book, the less sense it makes, and the more shit seems like to be thrown in there to see if it sticks.
So Gabriel. Jesus. So real quick, Gabriel, he has a daughter from a previous marriage, and her name's Ava, I believe. And
I think
a part of his arc in the book is that he's trying to be closer to her and trying to be more of a father to her, because he always kind of like struggled with that. And Holly's just trying to be very patient with it, even though Ava's she gets in trouble a lot. And so I guess there's this moment where at first Holly thinks that Gabriel's going to get back with Ava's mom and they're going to be a family again. And she's kind of like preparing for that almost. But then they have the dinner, and then Gabriel's like, oh, instead of Holly moving in, which was, they were talking about moving in together, he wants Ava to move in so they'll be closer. And then I said, like, after like 2 years or whatever, then Holly can come back in. And then Holly understandably gets upset, you know, as I would too. But it's like, that's kind of the end of it. Because then like Gabriel's out of the picture for a while. but then he like calls her like once or twice and they talk. And then near the end of the book, they're just like, let's just get back together. Who cares? It's fine.
No discussion. We're just going to do it.
And they're like, how's Ava? Oh, Ava, she's a good kid now.
So it's no problem for us all to live together.
She had daddy issues. She moved in with daddy. She's fine now.
Yep. No more daddy issues.
None at all.
Christ, what is this? Is it still set in New York?
No, it's all in Ireland. All the books are in Ireland. Everybody's Irish in the books. Yeah, they wanted to bring in Hilary Swank's ugly ass face for some reason, so we had to make it American for the movie. And her super angry, bitter mother, who is not a thing in the books. Her family is happily together, and she has multiple siblings.
Okay, I gotta say something about
the cute little Irish family.
I have a question. What was that boxing movie she was in?
Oh, $1 Million Baby.
How big was her mouth guard?
Oh my God. I thought she was a $1 Million Baby after this.
Not as big as Jessica Biel's.
Oh my God.
Because Hilary Swank got some chompers.
She is a very unattractive woman.
And she's not convincing as a romantic lead.
No.
She's not convincing at all. Like, I'm sure somebody finds her attractive and that's fine. But like, it just, I don't know, her and then, Gladiator, I think, is just like, it doesn't fit.
They don't work. No. And God, they made her character so awful and angry and nagging and just terrible. He was ready to die just to get away from you.
See, here's the funny thing. Gerard Butler, the entire movie's like head over heels with her, and she's a complete and total bitch to him. And then when he dies,
he's dead within like the first 5 minutes.
When he dies, she's like, I was so bad to him and he loved me so much. This hurt so much wrong. Like, yeah, fuck you. Her mom. Okay. Her mom, the whole movie was like, you need to move on. You need to get over this shit. You need to stop. And then in the end, it's like, oh, I had a part in it the whole time.
I know. It didn't make any sense at all.
It was just extremes, because I feel like something like this, there's a lot of emotional depth, but you can't get that with like an hour and a half movie. So, because I will say, Holly as a character in this book, I actually liked her because she had a lot of different like layers to her character, even though there are way too many bits where she is just like in her mind, just like monologuing about Jerry or whatever the fuck. Like, there was a little bit too much of that, especially towards the end, where it was like there'd be chapters where it would just be story, and then like the last half of the chapter is her just talking to herself in her head about stuff, and it's like, you're padding now. It's the padding point. But yeah, Holly needs therapy. Like, why?
She needs so much therapy.
Did they ever bring that up in P.S. I Love You?
I don't think so, but it's been so long since I read it. I don't remember.
Because if I'm correct, she met Jerry when she was like 14 or 16 in that period. Yeah. And then they were together until he died. And when he died, she was 28.
Yeah, I think he was 30, maybe.
Yeah, like that's a long time to be with somebody, especially in like very formative years. And so I can imagine that's a traumatic experience to have. And why did nobody say, like, find a grief counselor? Like, you're clearly not dealing with this well at all. Who the hell would? So like,
this is 2007 New York. They don't.
It's not New York in the books.
It's in the movie.
True.
It's like there's thousands of counselors in New York, and all of them are homeless and hungry.
I can't with you.
but even in this book, where it's like it's been so many years since all of that's passed, and it's still very tough for her to deal with, to a point where it's like she probably has like PTSD from all this shit.
Yeah,
so like
very true.
She needs help, and I don't think the help is like reliving this with like other people, and it just I don't know. I wrote something in my notes that what was the exact quote I had? Oh, it was, turning death into this sentimental scavenger hunt rubs me the wrong way.
I can't. That's such a good way to put
it. Like quote that on the back of the book if you want, but that's just, I don't.
Plus, I don't know. Like I try to think of, okay, if I were terminally ill, I don't think I would want somebody as fucked up as she is to be helping me. She needs help. Like, yes. She's not in any shape to help any of these people, which is why she kind of fails at helping all of them.
Does she fail?
I felt like she didn't really do what, I don't know.
The best person she helped, I think, was Paul, because Paul was more fucking insane than she was. Do you remember
me which one Paul was?
Okay, Paul was the kind of younger
They're
guy
all bleeding together.
That when she first meets Paul, she's like, "Oh, he reminds me of Jerry." I'm like, "Oh fuck, here we go again." But
she's gonna fuck the terminal guy.
No, that's what I thought, but that doesn't actually happen. Thank God. No, Paul, he's a younger guy. He's married. I think he has like 2 kids, and they're younger kids. And so he's trying to do like the video message thing with Holly, but he has it set up for the birthday candles where it's like 5, and then he goes from like 5 to like 20 something. Like he films one for like all the years he's not going to be there. And Holly's like, I guess, but this seems kind of weird. But more goes on. She is the one that goes like, Paul, stop. Like, what the hell are you doing? You know, basically says like, by the time they're that old, they're probably not going to remember you that way, dude.
Exactly. And like he had a little girl. He had a little girl that he wanted to film like some sort of wedding day message for her.
Yeah.
And when Holly finally goes off on him, she's like, you don't know that she's going to get married. You don't know that she is going to have a husband. You like have no idea if her sexual orientation is going to change. She didn't say like, what if she's trans? But I read that in there myself.
Fair. No, that's fair.
You can't assume their futures when they're only like 2 and 3 years old. Like, just give them a simple message telling them how much you love them. This is too much. Like, you're assuming way too much.
Paul's credit, he stopped.
Yes.
So that's probably the best thing Holly did throughout the whole thing. But some of these characters really didn't help out much. Like, there was that one character, I forget. Was it Bert, maybe? Where like she had to put the thing, like slide it into like his body, and it's like in the open casket like ceremony or whatever.
Yes.
And then everyone's like, what the hell are you doing? And then they just got it was weird.
And then they had to explain themselves.
Oh god, it was so cringy.
And the kid she helped teach read, but like I never saw any evidence that she was teaching that girl to read. What the hell?
And like that oh god, that one. But also the one character where Bert's the one I'm thinking of, where his final message basically is I think his wife Rita like has a twin sister, and basically the last message is like Holly goes to the twin sister's house and Bert's like, try to get her and Rita to like make up for whatever the hell. And it's like, that was really shitty to do, to throw a stranger into some like decade-long quarrel between family members. Like that was very shitty.
Yeah.
You know? There's a lot of shitty people in this book, but they're not really treated that way. It's like they're shitty, but they're dying, so it's okay. Yeah. And it's like, no, it's not okay.
One of the funniest things to me was like the woman who grabbed her and like literally bruised her arm trying to get her to help. That woman dies before she agrees to go help this club.
She dies as she's grabbing onto her arm.
I wish. Oh god,
I wish. Her soul went into the bruise.
She gets to like see what this woman did for her. P.S. I love you. Think this woman had a bunch of wigs and she like made a video for her family saying, go look under my wigs and you'll find notes for each and every one of you. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? What is this? I just write them all letters and leave them in a box saying to my family. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like even Jerry was extra in the first book, but it was just like one guy, you know, doing it on his own. That's one thing. But when you're trying to like what's the word I'm trying to think? When you're trying to like turn into a business or like a nonprofit, it just, I don't know, man. Oh yeah, what'd you think about the flashbacks to when Holly and Jerry were younger?
What was the point? What was the point? Why couldn't we have had those in the first book?
Like
when it was more relevant.
I think it was just trying to like further detail their relationship, which
we didn't need more of that. No,
and plus, it doesn't matter anymore.
And I didn't want to read
already.
And I didn't want to read about them having sex when they were underage. I wasn't into that. But then there's one bit where it's like, as they're doing that, their like drunk friend or whatever dies. and then like,
hey, P.S. I love you, his mom.
No, but it's they're like younger or whatever, right? And then like they have the one friend who dies, and then like Jerry's really bummed about that, about him dying, because I think it was like they went off to fuck at his expense, and now he's like dead because of it. So it's like they try to imply that because Jerry is guilty about his friend's death, he just stayed with Holly, which almost kind of usurps the whole point of the first book.
Yeah. I only vaguely remember that bit. I gotta be honest with you. I skimmed a lot.
I spent many days stocking shelves listening to that book.
Oh, bless it.
That's awful.
It's
though I will say I think it was Holly's sister, like in the flashback scenes when like Holly's trying to figure out like how to look for Jerry or whatever, like her sister's dropping stuff that made me laugh. There was one point where she said like, "You're gonna have sex with the Jeremeister," and that made me laugh. So
oh my gosh.
I thought that was so funny because it was bad. But yeah.
It was just a really depressing and terrible time.
All right.
It's how not to do a sequel.
Yeah. We didn't need a sequel. Let's be real.
Yeah.
So Karradyne, what score did you give this book?
I gave it 2 stars because it made me giggle sometimes.
Jesus
2 out of 5.
2 out of 5.
Yep.
Thrak, how about you?
I gave it 2 stars because it made me giggle sometimes.
All right. And the movie? Any thoughts on the movie? Scores for the movie?
Out of 5, 10?
Doesn't matter.
5. I mean, when I saw it in high school, I would have given it a 5. Now, maybe a 2.5 or 3.
What about you, Thrak?
I mean, if you want a romantic comedy, just watch When Harry Met Sally. That's a better
That's
movie.
an amazing movie. I love it.
Just watch
you
that.
Like halfway watched it one day. Billy Crystal.
It's good. It is genuinely a good movie.
It is.
I think the movie is a 1. I had to watch 300 afterwards just to get my.
Did you really watch 300 afterwards?
Yeah.
Went from a 2 to a 3.
Vaguely remember that. Vaguely remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, it went from a 2 to a 3, but a very fun and stupid 3. A turn off your brain kind of 3.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go ahead and get in some games and stuff. For this week's game, we have Dragon Quest VIII Journey of the Cursed King. It is a role-playing video game developed by Level 5 and published by Square Enix on the PS2. This was published originally on November 27th, 2004, and it recently, well, not recently, it was like in 2013, it got a re-release for the Nintendo 3DS, which is the version that I played. In the game begins with the court jester of the Kingdom of Trodaine, Domagus, stealing an ancient scepter and casting a spell on the Trodaine castle. The spell turns the king, King Trode, into a troll, the princess Medea into a horse, and the rest of the castle's inhabitants into plants. I would have loved for Princess Medea to actually have been modeled after Medea.
Like Tyler Perry Medea. Oh my god!
Did that come out around the same time?
I think it did. I think it might have. Let me show Karradyne Medea from Dragon Quest VIII because she hasn't seen.
I was about to say you do not need to show me Medea because I know Medea all too well.
So that's Horse Medea.
What?
Wait, where's Horse Medea? I lost her. Oh, here we go. Horse Medea. Right, that's her.
She looks like that sex toy.
She does look like the sex toy. And this is human Medea.
She's cute.
I was so disappointed that she was not Medea from Tyler Perry's movies.
You know, I get the sense that Yuji Horii and Akira Toriyama are not Tyler Perry fans.
They might not be.
I wonder why not.
Is anybody really a Tyler Perry fan?
Has Tyler Perry done anything in like the last 10 years?
Oh, he still does stuff. He still makes movies.
Does?
I think he has a production company. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, I think he does have a production company.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure. It's something that's like, I don't really want to comment on it. You know, it's a whole thing. So
understandable.
It's a culture I'm not a part of. So
there is an episode of the Boondocks where they make fun of Tyler Perry, and it is the funniest episode in the whole show.
I love the Boondocks.
Amazing. Boondocks is so great.
I love the Boondocks.
I wish they would have still been around when the whole Bill Cosby case thing happened.
Oh my god.
They would have they would have had a field day with that shit.
Field day, yes. And probably they would now with how like Kanye's been. So
yeah. So Granddad was played by John Witherspoon. And he was a huge fan of Bill Cosby.
Oh no.
Like he modeled himself after Bill Cosby on the show. I would have loved to see what would have happened with that character when the whole thing happened with Bill Cosby. It would have been great.
Damn.
Yeah.
That sucks.
like a mental breakdown or something. It'd been great.
You know, I saw Bill Cosby live and I loved it. And then he did bad things. Well, we found out that he did bad things.
Afterwards?
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't there, were you?
I was not.
Oh.
John Witherspoon is dead?
Yes, he's dead.
I didn't know he was dead.
He died like 2 years ago.
I see that now. 3 years ago, almost.
I've been very sad about it ever since that happened.
I didn't know. Whoops. No, I'm behind on the times.
Anyways, Dragon Quest VIII. This I'm gonna be honest. I didn't like this game. I did not like this game.
At least he's honest.
At all. Well, I did like it some, but I hated it a lot more than I liked.
All right.
Let's start with the music. Absolutely hated every single piece of music in the game. Every single piece.
Was it the music or was it the quality of the music?
Both.
Okay, because I know with the 3DS version, which by the way came out in 2017, like January. Okay. So it was on the 3DS like right before the Switch came out. So, you know, Tank City. Anyway,
yeah.
Because with that
explains why it's so expensive now.
Well, and it's Dragon Quest. Everything's gone up in price since 11. But with the 3DS version, they for some reason did the MIDI version of the tunes. Because Koichi Sugiyama, personal stuff aside, when it came to the music, he was always weird and picky about it. So like the PS2 version, which I'm showing for the audio listeners, and I'm wearing my Dragon Quest shirt, by the way. For the Japanese
slime Jesus right there.
All
little slime Jesus.
Oh,
and there's Ditto. Ditto's right there too.
That's funny.
So for the Japanese PS2 version, they used that MIDI soundtrack. But when they brought it over to the West, they did the full orchestral version because Sugiyama always did a full orchestral version. And it also had voice acting and everything. But for the Japanese, for the 3DS release, the Japanese had the orchestral soundtrack on the 3DS, but the Western version had the MIDI. But there is a mod where you can bring the orchestral music back. And I think I said it to you while you were playing it. I recommend looking up the symphonic suite of 8 so you can hear the full lush orchestrated version. I think you'd like it more. It might not make you go, oh, the soundtrack's great, but I think you would appreciate it more. But I get it because MIDI Dragon Quest music always sounds kind of weird, especially on 11. Ugh.
So the music. Okay, so first off, I was going kind of crazy because when I had started playing the game, I swapped over to Karradyne's DS, right? The 2DS XL. Mm-hmm. And the speakers are underneath, right? You see them right here.
My DS.
Oh, the palm. Oh, where it's like you hold it and the palms.
And it's right there, yeah.
That was terrible.
So
idea.
Whenever I heard the first couple of voice lines, I was like, this kind of sounds like it's coming out of a can. And then I kept hearing the music. I'm like, this music, it doesn't sound good. And then I kept hearing it some more and I got used to it. I'm like, wait, no, this music is not good. It sounds like a very bad mix of the original Dragon Ball score with a run-of-the-mill Disney soundtrack. It is just plain awful. It is so bad. That battle theme was so fucking grating. I hated it. I was playing on the couch most of the time, and I would just be turning the volume up and down, up and down, up and down, because I would want to hear the sound effects and the characters talking and whatnot, but I didn't want to hear the fucking music. So, God, the music was definitely not for me.
If that's the case, you're not going to like Dragon Quest XI soundtrack, because that one is considered, I think, by a lot of people to be the worst one.
Really?
That's probably the worst thing about 11. Well, because by that time Sugiyama was really old, so he was just reusing a lot of old music. Though the battle theme in 11 is fantastic, the orchestrated version, but a lot of the new compositions in 11 are just dog shit, just absolute dog shit. So if you think some of these in 8 are bad, 11 you'll probably change your mind. You'll probably be like, actually, 8 wasn't that bad. It's fine. It's not Sugiyama's best work for sure, but I think it's fine.
The character models, I loved all the character models. I loved their looks. They look familiar because it's Toriyama, so they kind of look Dragon Ball-ish, but with a fantasy spin on them. I love how 8, the main character, is basically just Gohan.
Yeah, and he's got the best faces too.
Yeah,
when they just cut to him and he's just doing like the anime face.
Yeah, the little mouth and the big eyes.
Oh, it's always good. It's always good.
Yeah, like you got to save the world, and he's just standing there with a blank expression on his face.
Though I do find it interesting how when Dual Magus does what he does to Chardain, that hero escapes. Like he's just fine. Nothing happens to him. He's not affected at all. Yeah,
no. The king. That's another thing I didn't like. I didn't like.
You don't like Chardain, or you don't like Trode?
I like Trode. Trode he's a fun character. I don't like that the story of the game just follows the party trying to help Trode become a human again. Like that's the story. Just chase down the bad guy so he can turn back into a human. Like there's no point in the game where, okay, that is the end goal, but let's deviate from that and go do something else. That more important than just chase the bad guy, stop him so everything can go back to normal.
There are side quests, but they feel minimal in comparison to some of the other Dragon Quest games. Like the big one is the monster arena that Mori does, and I didn't really do much of that, but I know that's like I gave up on quest. That one. I
got to tier A, and when I was fighting the last one, one of his monsters, the last guy's monsters, had double attacks in the same turn. So he had 3 and one of them did doubles. And I had like both of my strongest monsters were like at half health. And in the last, when it was just him, he took both of my monsters down. I was like, I'm done. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to continue.
Can you get buffs and debuffs for those monsters?
No, because they attack automatically. If it's not a skill that the monster has inherently, it's not going to happen.
Oh, okay.
So, because there was one of the monsters, which was an Archfiend, he had buffs and debuffs, and he also had area full party attack. So he had Kaboom, and he had Kabuff and all that stuff. But he would only be able to use one of them each fight, because once he used one magic attack, his whole magic bar's gone. And then the rest was just attacking. And the cool thing is that there's like families of monsters. So let's say if you get all 3 Cyclops, then all 3 of them have one special attack that they would do that causes a lot of damage. Or if you have all 3 robots of the same kind, then they would do the same. And they would kind of like all play off of each other to make the fights go easier. So I had to look up the guides and whatnot, but then I figured, I have these 3, they're great. I have this one who's fills a hole that I need filled. So let me just go. And I basically just steamrolled the whole thing until I got to A and stopped me. I'm like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Because I think if you go through the whole thing, that's how you get Mori in your party, I think.
Yes, I think after you beat A, he goes with you.
Yeah, because they added him in this version as an extra playable character, along with Red. But I don't know if Red's in the PS2 version, because I played a little bit of the PS2 version just to get like a comparison, and the PS2 version, I mean, it looks better, especially when you put it in an emulator through some like high settings. It looks really nice, but the quality of life features in the 3DS are just so good. Like, it's not even worth it. Like, because
quality of life features.
Well, there's
honestly,
no
this game felt dated as shit to me.
Well, then play the PS2 version where there's random encounters. 3DS took them out, which that alone is enough to be like, it's the better version. And like the stats are tweaked a little bit. There's some like new weapons. There's like a bonus dungeon. Like, they added a lot of content in the 3DS version to, I think, make it a little bit more worth your time, which I appreciate with Dragon Quest. Whenever they do remakes or ports or whatever, they usually add content or add something in there that make it worthwhile if you hadn't gotten to it before.
See, what annoyed me the most about the game is how slow it felt.
Yes, it's very slow.
Took a while for the fights to start. Took a while for you to select your abilities. Then it took a while for them to happen. Then it took a while for the monsters to attack. Then it took a while for it to get back for you to select what you want to do.
Did you turn on fast?
Yes. And once you're done with the fight, it takes a while for you to go back into the open world.
Yeah.
That annoyed the fuck out of me. And the other thing that the thing that almost made me stop playing this game was how slow experiences is given out. You have to find and grind metal slimes if you want to level up at a decent pace. Yes,
you and me, we both did that for hours.
I did. Just before I got into the final dungeon, I leveled up my characters to like level, I don't know, like 48, 49, because I did not want to struggle in the boss fights. I just wanted to blaze through them. And all of the guides that I found, they said, oh, basically by the time you finish the game, you should be at level 40, so everything's easy. I'm like, I want it easier than that. So
I was at about mid-60s when I beat the game.
Mid-60s?
Roughly, because I just kept grinding. Because the final boss, you didn't get to the final boss. The only issue with him is that he has some RNG. So there are some attacks that he has that it's not like SMT level RNG, but if like he has some air attacks and they hit you, you're basically done. And it took me, I think it was like 4 times to beat him. I did beat him.
Really?
Yeah, just because it would just be like luck a couple times. But when it came to like my characters, I was just doing basically the same thing every time, and it seemed to work. Where I would just have oh crap, I forget his name. The silver-haired guy with the sword. I forget
Angelo.
Angelo. I just had Trunks. Angelo. Yeah, not Trunks. I basically had Angelo heal basically every turn. Just had Jessica just spam attack spells, and would just have Hero just do like, I think the Giga Slash kind of stuff until they just die. So but I think the slowness it's more that it's like Japanese game design, because from what I know with like Japan, they like games that are a bit slower and you can just like kind of take your time with it. And with basically every Dragon Quest I've played, that's just kind of how the progression is. It's just a nice slow pace. So it's like, if you're new, it's not overwhelming, but if you're someone like us who's just trying to like get through the game, it does take a while, and it can wear, especially when the story content in 8 isn't as dense as say like 11. Because if you remember, I put a lot of hours into 11, but what helped is the story was really good. I really enjoyed the characters and the character moments in that, and the progression didn't feel as like slow or daunting compared to 8.
See, you touched on something else. The way that the party fights, the way that the game is built and the party is built and the way they encourage you to grow these characters doesn't make any sense to me. You have Angelo, whose last sword skill is like Thunder Strike, and he hits all the enemies and does above 200 damage to everybody with one attack. But he's also the only one that can heal the whole party. Then you have Jessica, whose magic has wide area of effects, but doesn't do a lot of damage. So she's basically useless. Then you have Yangus, who's basically your powerhouse with very little magic, and his skills sometimes use a lot of magic and deal a ton of damage. And then you have the Hero, who is kind of like an all-around and can do everything, but you kind of count on him to do his heavy attacks, but then he's the only one that can learn Omni Heal.
Yeah, well, he can heal the whole party as well, but I only used it in like dire situations.
I tell you, these boss fights that I've had to go through, I would have to juggle so much between these fights and basically just have Jessica filling up a fucking spot, because Red is actually good. Red has this ability where she tosses coins at the enemies. She spends your money, but it does 300 damage every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So I would have to decide, do I want to lose all my money, or do I actually want to keep it to buy better weapons? Because that's another thing. You don't earn enough money in your fights. If you want to earn a lot of money, you have to go to the fucking casino.
Oh yeah, that's how it's been in Dragon Quest. It's like the 4th game.
Man, there's this game. It feels like there's no progression at any point. Like, you're in a dungeon fighting the same monsters from the beginning till the end. When you come back out, you only gone up 1 level. And if you fight every single monster on your way down and every single monster on your way up. I hate that. I don't like that. I absolutely do not like that at all.
That's fair. That's fair.
I will say there were some things I liked. I liked the cosmetics whenever you change a weapon or you change a shield. The animations for the special attacks were great. The puff attack was funny as hell.
Oh, puff was great.
Just fucking give a monkey a boob job.
What the hell?
Oh yeah, I also like there's an enemy called, I don't know if you remember, there's an enemy called the hipster. And if you kill him, he gives you 69 XP. That was great.
That's very funny. I love the monster names too. They're creative as hell.
Like, to me, the best part of Dragon Quest is the enemies, like the designs of them, the name of them, how they just kind of exist, because they're basically part of the charm. Because the best part of Dragon Quest is the charm. Because as you're playing it, you're just kind of enjoying it, and especially like the dialogue scenes. A lot of them, I just think, had really good humor in them. Like kind of like unintentional humor. Like I would just chuckle a lot.
Every time King Trode would come out of nowhere and scare Yangus, and he would go like, "Core blimey,
core blimey," and he has that freeze frame pose. Yeah, beautiful.
That shit is very funny. And then that one scene where King Trode shows up, he's like, "Core blimey." Wait, that joke's getting old. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that shit was so funny.
And there was the dungeon with the moles. Do you remember that?
I did not do that.
When the moles would talk, they would just go like Doug, dig, Doug.
Oh, dig. Right.
And then then the big boss is like Don Mole, and he's like, I think he's like trying to be like a musician with the thing that you find or whatever.
Yeah,
it's like that was so charming.
Yeah.
No, Prince Charms fucking sucks.
Charmless.
Charmless. I hate that little prick.
It's in his name. He's charmless. I hated that guy.
Ugh.
I did feel kind of bad for Jessica, because she's like this princess or duchess or whatever, and she's just like a sex object in the game.
And it's like, and it's like, why she joins your party is like more noble than that, because she's trying to avenge her brother.
Yeah.
And then like, it's just the rest of the game is just look at her boobs. She's got big boobies.
Yeah, like she has a skill tree called sex appeal.
Yes.
And all of them are like blow a kiss, hip thrust, fucking pedal dance, puff, which is the one where she grabs her boobs and starts shaking
them. My god.
Some of them are good buffs, but
I had like the funniest mental image at one point. Like, I was fighting this boss who was susceptible to puff, and like all of the characters were like doing like their best attacks, and she's the only one doing puff. So I just imagined her right there with the boobs.
That one
oh
right
dear.
Yeah.
Those are some boobs. What the fuck is the thing next to her?
King Trode. Oh. That's the one you're trying to save. That's the cursed king.
But that's the weird thing, is that Jessica, as like a character, she's not a bad character.
No,
she's not at all. It's just how everybody else treats her around the situation, you know?
So I had the mental image of the whole party just running around fighting this giant monster, and she's just running, holding her tits, just like shaking them at the monster,
like,
trying to keep them in his side of whatever.
Because every once in a while in the battle, like an enemy would just say like, oh, they're fixated on Jessica's body, so then they wouldn't attack you. that just would randomly happen.
Yeah.
So
I had it where I was fighting one of the king metal slimes.
Oh God, those fucking.
I was fighting two of them, and both of them got fixated on her body. I was able to take out one.
Yeah, seriously, the king metal slimes were the worst
because and they give out so much experience.
I know, but it's like you have to like psych up a bunch and then maybe get lucky with Yangus's hit. But like they take so many hits, and they're always so prone to just running away, and they're just be upset. That's why I preferred the liquid metal slimes.
Liquid metal slimes, those
because I would psych up Angelo and Hero once, do the metal slash, and then maybe get lucky with Yangus's executioner move. And usually I'd get like 2 in a turn, but
I really wanted to like this game. There was so much about it that I thought, well, there was a point where I was playing it and I was like, I can't wait to get back in. And then I got back in and I was like, I kind of don't want to play this anymore. But I kept pushing on.
Slow. It is very slow.
I kept pushing on, and I kept seeing a lot of things that I liked. I liked the story beats. I liked the world to some extent. I did like the beginning of the chase of Dolmagus. Once you get to him and you kill him and all that shit, and then the power of the bad guy just gets swapped to somebody else. Then it kind of lost.
Thorn, yeah.
Because
how the whole game is advertised is like, oh, it's just going after Dolmagus. But spoilers, it's only the first half of the game.
Yeah.
But then it does that trickaroo where it's like, oh, here's the real bad guy who's this more powerful person. But to give the game credit, they didn't say that for like the very, very end. They just meant like that was the first half boss. Now here's the second half boss. But they don't give Rapthorn nearly as much character development as they do with Dolmagus, you know?
Yeah.
Because Dolmagus, I mean, he's essentially just the Joker.
Yeah, basically.
He straight up murders that old man, which I thought was like Jesus.
Yeah.
Because that's where you meet Angelo. With that whole thing. And then you find out like Angelo was like an orphan that like nobody loved, but they took him in because why not, I guess. And
yeah, like his brother was like the up and coming knight, and then his brother was nice, and then he became mean when he found out it was his brother. It's like,
oh my goodness.
Like there's good like character bits in there, and that's usually where JRPGs shine, is just in the little bits as you're going along your journey.
See, and I found that the characters could be interesting. Like their stories, they did have a purpose, but then as you're playing and the story's going on, it kind of becomes centralized on Hero, on 8, and basically everybody else is just standing in the background.
Yeah,
they're not doing anything.
That tends to happen. That tends to happen in Dragon Quest games, though.
And like their story beats are kind of like, all right, so we're closing your story in. It's done. That's it. Like it takes like 5 minutes. You're done. Your character arc is complete. Let's continue.
But to give the game credit, what I liked about 8 was that the party that you had was the party that you had. It was just like the same 4 people the entire way, which I liked that because it felt you were more close to those characters. Because sometimes in RPGs, when they have like a huge cast of characters, there's like a bunch you don't even use, and then you kind of just like forget about them. You know, whereas they were like, let's focus on these big 4.
I like that. I feel like one of my favorite RPG series is the Tales of series. Mm-hmm. And I feel like most of the time they're very good about distributing the spotlights between the characters. Usually the way they do it is they give each character a nemesis that you kill at some point. Mm-hmm. Especially the one that comes to mind is from the same era that this came out, which is Tales of the Abyss. That game is fucking fantastic.
Oh, I've heard great things about Abyss. Also, originally released on PS2 and got a 3DS remake later.
Yes.
And both of them are expensive.
Yes, they are.
I have Symphonia and Vesperia, and I've played a little bit of each. Both of them I really liked as well. Like Symphonia felt like a traditional kind of RPG, but I was enjoying what I played of that.
I love Symphonia. There's some parts of Symphonia that I absolutely hate, especially the Thunder Dungeon. But other than that, Symphonia is fantastic.
And with Vesperia, all I remember is the main character, the purple-haired guy. I forget his name already. Yuri. Like, why the hell does he have like his sword in a sheath and the sheath.
And he
is, like,
carries it around.
Yeah, it's like you're supposed to wear that, dude. Why are you just carrying it around?
So he has it wrapped around his hand, the sheath with the sword, and he just holds it the whole game.
Oh my goodness.
And also,
that doesn't get tiring.
Also, isn't Symphonia the exact same plot as Final Fantasy X? Where you're trying to guide the one girl to like the end where she's supposed to like sacrifice herself for the betterment of everybody.
Somewhat, but there's a twist halfway.
Okay. I haven't gotten that far in Symphonia.
And there's a lot of murder in Symphonia.
Ooh.
There's a lot of murder.
I mean, to be fair, I was there when like the village got like invaded and like burned to the ground. So I saw
Oh my
that.
gosh.
I'm like,
yeah, that's at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Yikes.
And they're like, and they're almost like half chibi characters too.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck, Namco?
Yeah, there's a lot of stabbing in that game. Vesperia has a lot of stabbing and killing on Yuri's part because he basically just disappears and goes kill people.
He's like a mercenary, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a royal knight like Flynn, and then he left and stuff happened. And I don't really remember that game that much. I really should replay that.
I got it on Switch over there.
I love how Abyss does the whole every character is important, every character has a purpose. Dragon Quest VIII kind of did that, but sometimes it just felt like they're filling in holes in your party. When they give you Red, that's what she feels like. I'm guessing that when you get Mori, that's also what it feels like.
Yeah, well, I think they were added into the 3DS version just to be like, hey, if you've played it before, here are these new characters to get to like mess around with. I think that was more just for returning players, because in the story they don't really matter that much. Even Red, who you see in the beginning of the game and near the end of the game, but she's just like, and when she joins you, she's just like, hey, let me join you. Just let me, and then you do. But I didn't really use her because I didn't want to go through the hassle of grinding and getting her up to like the levels, because when you get her, she's like level 30-ish, I think
33, and then
and my characters are all like 50 by that point, so I'm like, I'm not gonna bother.
So let's see what else. Okay, so I'm ready to score this game.
It's better than 7, because if you have issues with 8 in terms of these ways, 7 is like demonstrably worse because it's so longer and there's just it's a very long game. Because I tried playing a bit of 7 and the 3DS version, which they did trim out a lot of stuff, but even then it is a slog to get through. And there were points where I was literally like starting to fall asleep, so I'm like, just get on with it, please.
Damn.
And I'm a Dragon Quest fan, and that's saying a lot, It's tough. I'll do it one of these days.
I know I will one day too, because honestly, for me, this game is a 6.
Okay.
It's a 6. It has its moments, but it's not enough for me to be like, I need to replay this game. I need to play this game. I'm going to finish it.
Please don't replay it. It'll take you months.
No, I'm not going to replay it. I'm at the end of it. All I have to do is just go fight the last guy, the last bad guy.
And then there's a very long cutscene after that.
Oh boy.
Boy, there's a lot of long cutscenes. I feel like the cutscenes are slow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So even though it's a 6 for me, I still want to play more Dragon Quest, and I want to play the rest of the games. Not the rest, maybe the other games, because
please do.
I'm interested. I just wish it was faster paced. The experience actually matched up to what you were doing. And I just wish it was the only word I can think of is better, because it has potential, but it could be better.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. For me, I would give it, I'd say 8.5.
8.5?
8.5 feels good. It's not my favorite. In my ranking of the Dragon Quest that I've played, I was torn if I was going to put this at 2 or 3, but I'm sitting with 3. It's number 3. The 2 above it are Dragon Quest 4 and Dragon Quest 11. 11, I think with 11, 11 in many ways, it's just a better 8. Like they took 8 and then just did like a bigger story, more characters, more things to do. Like 11, you can really sink your teeth into. And if you want a game that you can do that with, I very much recommend 11. 4, I have a huge soft spot for 4 when I played that. Just because there's a lot of really good characters in that game, and it's also short. Like it'll take him maybe 40 hours to beat it, maybe. It's a lot quicker paced. It has like a chapter system, so basically like the first 4 chapters are like introducing you to all the side characters and their stories and what happens there. And then with the 5th chapter, you become the hero, and with the hero you find all the party members and form your team, and you use that team to fight the big bad guy at the end. Yeah.
Okay.
And so the progression is really good, and it lets you kind of get into the minds of every character as well. So when they all come together, it feels like, oh, a big party going to do it, because you know all these characters at this point. And the grinding isn't necessarily as bad.
It's
and four has an amazing soundtrack. Like Tornico's theme is a bop.
Okay. So it's for the one with the guy with the green hair.
Green hair. The hero with the green hair.
Yeah, let me look up Dragon Quest 4 because I think I have that one. If I have that one, I'm going to jump straight. Yeah, I do have
Chapters of the Chosen.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so. Yeah, in fact, I think that's one of the few, if the only Dragon Quest game where you can choose a male or female hero.
I did see that on that art book that I showed you.
And I think that's the only one.
Okay.
Well, that's not true. 9, but 9 you can just customize your entire character.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I think I'm gonna go into 4 next.
Yeah, I like 4 quite a bit. I have a huge soft spot for it, and if you end up liking 4, go 5. 5 is like the big one.
So I saw a video by Some Call Me Johnny about 5. Yeah, and he did a fantastic job explaining the whole plot of the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted to play it. So when I went to buy it online, it was $150.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna wait a while before I get that one, but I definitely will.
You can play it on your phone.
I don't want to.
That's fair. Though, to give the Dragon Quest mobile ports credit, they optimized them really well for your phone. So basically, it's like you can just, how you normally have your phone ports, or you can just play with your thumb like that. So they optimized it for just sitting there and playing it, which is very nice. And the version of 5 that's on there is just based off the DS version anyway, so it's the same game. But yeah, 5 is probably has the best story of the entire series. It's really, really good.
Yeah. So I just look at my list, and it looks like the only ones I'm missing are 5 and 6. I think I have the rest of them, and 11 10 because that was online, right?
Yes. In fact, I have 10. I don't know if you can see it, but I have it over there. I grabbed the Wii U copy so I could own a Wii U game.
There's a Wii U copy?
It.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, well, because when they were doing, when they were putting out the Wii U, there's actually a really interesting video of Satoru Iwata unboxing the Wii U, and the Japanese version came with a beta for Dragon Quest X in Japan.
Oh,
and it helped sell it. It helped sell it a little bit, but 10.
I'm sure it did.
10 is the weakest selling Dragon Quest game in the series, but one day I'll play it.
Yeah. Definitely. All right. So I guess that's it for this week. Karradyne, is there anything you want to say before we go?
I hope I never read a book as sad as that one again. Like sad that didn't make me feel anything. You know? like I love a good sad book that like just rips your soul into pieces. But
was it like a pathetic sad?
Yeah, like I feel sad for these people, this author. I feel sad for her and the fact that she thought this was good. I feel sad for the publisher that read this and was like, oh, let's publish this one. Oh, it's so bad.
All right, Thrak, what about you? Anything else you got to add or say or promote or whatnot?
I mean, you can always find me on Twitter at Thrak94. I'm in the Codex Discord if you want to yell at me there. Well, yeah, everything's good. So hopefully I'll play and beat Mass Effect 3 soon. So I'll see what the big deal is with that.
Yeah, can't wait to hear your journey about that.
Oh, that'll be great. Because 1 and 2 were fantastic.
They're so good.
Yeah. But hopefully I'll come on again and we can talk about something completely different. Who knows?
Yes, definitely.
That'll be fun.
Yep.
We can talk about Yakuza.
Oh boy, that's going to be an episode.
Yakuza 0 is coming up on my list.
Do you want to play Yakuza 0, Karradyne?
No. I don't want to read any Yakuza books either.
You want to read?
Are there Yakuza books?
No.
I don't. I mean,
look.
I'm sure there are books like based on
the Yakuza.
Yeah, but not the games.
No.
You know, I'm not interested. Sorry. Count me out.
All right, then do you want to say goodbye, Karradyne?
Goodbye.
What about you, Thrak? You want to say goodbye?
Bye-bye.
All right, goodbye, everyone.